We start this week's edition of Retrospect in 1994, with a St. Paul area MLA leaving his party months after the provincial election.
On June 15, 1993, Liberal candidate Paul Langevin was elected as MLA for the Lac-La-Biche-St. Paul riding. But after only 9 months in provincial politics, Langevin says he has had his fill of the Alberta grits.
The decision for me did not come easy.
Paul Langevin says he is leaving the Liberal Party to sit as the only independent MLA in the legislature. Langevin says 9 months ago, the Alberta Liberals campaigned for a balanced budget, free votes in the legislature, and an honest and open government. But he says now it seems the Decore Liberals have changed their tune.
We're not doing that. We seem to be going into the opposite direction. And I have a moral obligation to step aside and say, I will represent my people the way I campaign. I will honor my campaign promises.
Liberal leader Lawrence Decore was quick to respond to Langevin's departure.
He's unhappy that we've taken a direction that he thinks is at variance with what we said during the election. I don't think it is at variance, and the caucus doesn't think it's at variance.
It could be a problem.
St. Paul Mayor John Trefanenko was Langevin's Conservative opponent in the last election. He says the MLA may be jumping the Liberal ship too quickly after such a short time in government.
It's going to be something new for Mr. Langevin because he's only been in politics for 9 months. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how well he can represent our constituency.
Public reaction to Langevin's announcement was mixed.
Yes, I think an independent might be better.
If he was going to do that, he should have done it right off the bat. Never went for the Liberal Party. But the way he did, I don't like it.
He has to go with what he feels is right for his constituency. He doesn't really have a choice, or he's not going to be voted in next time.
Langevin says he now plans to bring more government attention to issues facing rural Albertans. He says he will give his riding a stronger voice in Parliament with his new independent status. And he says now when he has to cast a vote in Parliament, it will be a free vote following the direction of his constituents instead of a leader he can no longer support.
And now we fast forward to 1998, with producers across the country, including the Midwest, showing interest in growing a new crop.
We're calling it hemp fever. It's like a bit of a gold rush we've had.
Hemp fever has swept across the prairies since Federal Health Minister Alan Rock announced the decriminalization of the crop back in mid-March. Thousands of producers have logged onto the Health Canada websites to find out more about the wonder crop and apply for licenses to grow it. It's a similar frenzy at Alberta agriculture offices.
We've had tons of inquiries. I mean, to the point where in some offices answering machines can't handle it anymore.
All that excitement over a crop with almost no background information. It is known that hemp will be tightly controlled in Canada. Among the regulations, only Canadian Seed Growers Association members will be allowed to produce seed. You must grow a minimum of 10 acres, and THC content must be no higher than 0.3%. THC is what gives marijuana its kick and sits at about 17% in the drug.
Police checks have to be done. The Health Canada wants to know where it is, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to store it. They want to make sure that it's tested so that the drug level in it is at the limits that they've been set so that no one's out there smoking it. And all of these
if you're willing to abide by those rules, Bus says hemp will grow well here in the Midwest, in dry soils and even better in wet conditions. He says it will likely stand about 5 or 6 feet tall in Midwest fields. However, once it's up, how do you harvest it?
We're not really clear on that yet. There's not a lot of data about people taking conventional combines into this stuff. It's always been done with different special equipment, or in places like China, it's all done by hand. So we're still working out that aspect of it. Like the production with Western equipment is something that has been relatively unexplored.
Another big question that needs to be answered is, where will it be processed?
We have fears that some people are going to put in 10 acres of this stuff and then not know what to do with it. But we're trying to allay those fears as much as possible. The principle of good special crops production is first you find a market. If there's no market for it, you might want to play with it, but be prepared to maybe have to throw it all away at the end if you can't find a place to sell it.
Aside from a possible plant in Manitoba, no big industry players have stepped forward to say they'll turn the crop into either oil or clothing. And since the seed market is out of the question for most producers, the fiber and grain markets are the ones most producers will be targeting. Buss says he does not want to discourage anyone from growing hemp. However, he is advising producers to get all the information possible before seeding the crop.
This has been a look at our week in retrospect.